Are we live now?
Well, hopefully we're hopefully getting live.
Oh yeah, I just got a notification. Hang on.
There we go. There we go. There we go. And we're live. Well, good evening, everyone who's in my time zone and whatever, everyone else. Hello. This is Bad Tempered Badger, and I'm here today with. What are you? Who are you now? Sassy Atheist, is it?
Yes. Yes. Sassy Atheist.
Right. There we go. Oh no, it does. Right, we're okay. So, what are we here to discuss today? Hello, everyone in the chat there.
Hello.
Well, the title is The Pressure to Preach. So we're here to discuss how in religious groups there's often a lot of pressure on people to preach and proselytize, that word, and spread their faith around to everybody and anybody and anything that they can get their hands on.
Yeah.
So, as a more recent leaver of religion than me, what is your sort of recent experience with that?
I remember when I was a Christian, there were a lot of days where I just felt so overwhelmed, and I've kind of bullied myself over it because I knew that I couldn't preach the Bible to the whole world. I didn't, I couldn't. And so I would just get, so depressed and was like, but that's what I'm supposed to do. Like, a Christian's main purpose on earth, according to, the Bible, is to basically serve God and preach the gospel to others. So that's what my main concern, my main purpose was to do. So I also was trying to get over the fear of preaching face to face with people, because it was a lot easier doing it online than it was in person. So I actually, I asked my former, my then Bible study teacher, how does he do it? Like, how is he not afraid, to go out and preach to whoever, no matter who they are and where they are? And he just said that because I have the Holy Spirit in me. So I kind of bullied myself over the fact that I was constantly so concerned with being able to change someone's life with the Bible over the internet, and I really Christians liked what I was preaching, but I wasn't deconverting someone, and I took it personally. So
yes, I understand.
It was
I understand from previous things you said that you used to be something of a rather avid preacher on the intertubes.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was an avid preacher online, and I was hardly a preacher in person. Sometimes I would do it to some people, but it never really worked out.
So you didn't go out doing the old soul winning or whatever they call it then?
Oh yeah, yeah, and no, I was because I guess one of the reasons why I was a little bit afraid to preach to people was because I would see some people get upset when my Bible study teacher, preached to them. Wherever we went, it was preach to anyone. And so I would just be like, oh no, here he goes again.
Yep.
I'll be in the corner.
And so that's my reaction if I'm atheisting my way around the place. When I'm out for a walk or something, if I'm walking through town and there's somebody there with the Bibling away, I walk past that. Oh, but do you have to?
Yes, yeah. I mean, where I live, there's not many. There's hardly any street preachers. So, I guess I'm kind of lucky on that. But I mean, you'll see some Christians out in front of their Planned Parenthood with a sign of Mary and baby Jesus and saying abortion's wrong, and then there was one time I saw an older guy all by himself just standing with a huge sign saying Jesus saves. And uh I mean, it's not all the time, but there are times where you see some people do it. But to be honest, they're like majority of Christians in where I live are older people.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of younger, like in their 20s or younger than that. There's not many young ones. So when I went to when I almost became Catholic and I went to one of us our churches,
Mm-hmm.
I was the only, I'm not kidding, the only young person there. Everyone else was like 60 and up. I was the youngest person there.
I think that seems to be a theme in a lot of churches at the moment. Is all the people who are still going to them are getting progressively more ancient.
Yeah, well, but a lot of churches are going to be closing down because there's not many, well, at least where I'm from, not a lot of people are going to church. They're doing it like at their own house. They're having their own little communion like for
Yeah.
themselves. And yeah.
Well, would you say that when you were actively religious and I forgot how words happen. When would you say when you were actively religious, did you feel that there was a social pressure on you from other people that you should be out preaching?
um well, there's only really one person that um from a very young age, and like from I was little, to believe in Jesus, and as I got older to read the Bible, and to as I got more you know into my faith, than to go out and preach it. And that was from my Bible study teacher slash mentor. He was
Mm-hmm.
basically the only one that sort of forced it, you know sort of pressured me
Yeah.
into making sure I spread the gospel to others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, from my perspective, growing up in sort of a slightly culty Church of England community,
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't exactly a pressure to preach directly, but there was always a pressure to fit in with everyone else, and that would include if you found you were speaking to someone who didn't believe and wasn't a member of the faith. There was sort of that expectation that you would try to kind of
Yeah. Yeah,
promote that to them.
and I also learned is that depending on, like I said, what church you're part of, and what it's because I the both the churches the church that I used to go to before the Catholic one was Episcopalian one. And basically you go to church, you sit through the service, and then afterwards there's a get together, but no one ever mentioned anything about Jesus or the Bible. It was basically gossip talk. That was it. There was no, making sure, oh, we should, go out and go to the high school, or go to schools and everywhere else to preach. It was just, you went to church, you learned from what you were spoken to about, and you go on about your day doing whatever.
Mm.
And that was a lot different than what I was being taught from my Bible study teacher. And it's, yeah, like I said, it all depends on who you're with, like, you know, who's going to church with, what the church beliefs are, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
For me, anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Now I see. I understand where you're coming from there. Now I'll tell you an incident that happened with me absolutely years ago when I was growing up, and I was going to Sunday school,
Mm-hmm.
and we just had a lesson in the Sunday school. It was about a Bible verse, which was that you have to go to God with the mind of a child thing.
Yeah.
You know the one I mean? Because I can't quite get the exact wording in my head for a second.
I'm trying to think of it too. I stopped trying to remember all these Bible
I'm just going to
verses.
look it up.
uh um yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you're talking. I just can't
There it
exactly
is.
remember how to say it.
Matthew 18:3. Let me just find the version of it that I read, which would be the Good News version. There it is. And said, I assure you that unless you change and become like children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. That's not the
Yeah.
version of it I read.
Well, I remember
All
hearing
the
that.
different translations have slightly different wording. And the wording that
Oh
I heard
yes.
was that if you don't come to God like a child, then you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. And I somehow I interpreted that to mean that if you don't accept the word of God as a child, it's too late once you become an adult.
See,
And this, because I knew that my dad was not a believer and was not a follower of the religion and just kind of not interested, that suddenly made me think, oh well, that's my dad doomed. He's that's his soul burning for all eternity, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I felt really shit for the rest of the day.
oh yeah, that's sad. Yeah, I interpreted that verse as if you don't have complete faith
Mm-hmm.
in God, like a child would have complete faith
Yeah.
in their parent, then you wouldn't see the kingdom of heaven, because if there's a little doubt, or then
Mm-hmm.
that's how I interpret it.
Well, now that I've had more time to think about it since then, and to think about it in a more critical way, now that I'm not a believer,
Yeah.
that particular verse I now see to mean something like, by coming with the mind of a child, I would interpret that to mean that you should come with God is the ultimate authority, and you should come and listen to whatever God or God's representatives say with a non-questioning, accepting mentality.
I guess there's different ways but people can interpret that chapter, the verse, because
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And that's the opposite of how I like to look at things. I like to question everything. So
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think that's a helpful message to give to anyone. And the way I interpret it as a child definitely wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
It,
Yeah.
it caused me some issues, that one. But particularly in more cultish kind of setups, like well, if we got Not Your Witness on this, he'd say the old witnesses and a few others.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely that pressure to always be out promoting the religion, and that's what turns a lot of atheists off, or just people who
Yeah.
non-believers, or people who don't care,
Yeah.
because suddenly there's someone in your face waving a Bible at you, and you, oh, just bugger off, I'm not interested.
Yeah. Yeah, there were oh, that's right. Now I think of it, I haven't. It hasn't happened in a while, but now I remember that we used to. There used to be Jehovah Witnesses going door to door, everywhere in where I live, and
Hmm.
talking and trying to talk about God and their religion or whatever they are.
Hmm.
And it was, and oh my gosh, there was a time a long time ago that Jehovah, I think it was about a couple of people maybe, came to our house, and
Oh,
they
Jehovah
made
himself came to your house.
just
I
Jehovah
know.
Witness.
Jehovah's Witnesses, I know.
They came to our house, and I was a little girl, I think at the time, and they got my mom so mad, well, hurt, I guess, because they were saying
Mhm.
that, telling her right to her face that her father was not in heaven. That
Great.
was
Well, thanks for that.
I I I know, and and basically she said, "Get out of my house."
Mm,
I don't want to hear, and yeah, and so yeah, there was one time that they got my mom so mad and just stay away from us. Like, we don't want your pamphlets. We don't want it.
mhm.
And don't let my brother go to the door when there's a Jehovah's Witness. Oh my gosh. He would say some things that were like, Paul, don't say that.
Well,
And
oh, I forgot where I was going with that.
and
Sorry, you
also be
carry
some
on.
Mormon. There would be also be some Mormons you would see walking around town, uh and with, and
Mhm.
you always knew, you didn't have to go up to them and ask them what religion. You always knew they were Mormon by how they dressed and what they wore, and what what
Yeah,
bag they carried. You always knew. I was like, oh, there's a Mormon.
you have a distinctive. There's a sort of a common dress theme to a lot of the different religions. They have quite a distinctive, even if they're wearing what could be considered normal clothes.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's, and oh, and do you remember what you want to talk about? Because I just remembered
Oh
something
no,
that
you
I
go
want to
on.
talk about.
I'll come back to mine in a minute.
Oh, sorry, I talk too much. Um, there was one person that also uh hello, hello.
Yeah, I'm still here. Just had to mute the microphone.
Okay. Oh, okay. I was like, oh no, please don't tell me you have to start all over. Anyway, so no, a couple of years ago, I actually told you like a snippet about this. A couple of years ago, I history basically repeated itself when it came to preaching with the religion, and me
Hmm.
as a Christian. A couple of years ago, I was on Instagram, and so I would I thought like I said, I thought I was doing the right thing. I was preaching, um and so and I there was someone that I thought, well, I considered as my friend, well,
Hmm.
online friend, and he was also a Christian too, a around my age, a very very evangelical Christian.
Hmm.
And so he would encourage, to for me to keep preaching no matter what anyone said. It doesn't matter if they're offended, because if they're offended, that means they hate the truth. They're
Oh,
living in
great.
sin. So
That's a great way to
I
get
guess
people to listen. Just you hate the truth.
yeah. So yeah, that was also another person that I when I got off of Instagram, I stopped communication, obviously, with that person. But when I was on Instagram, I like I did on Twitter, I preached, and I actually I hurt people on there too. And oh god, I'm gonna get emotional because this was no this was like this was a very, for me, a very dark time in my life, because
Mm-hmm.
when it came to the realization that how much I had hurt people, I went into deep depression. I did not want to eat. I was always so on edge, like nervous all the time, holding
Mm-hmm.
it in inside of me, knowing what I did. And it also, and I just, all I want to do was sleep, because I knew that if I slept, I wouldn't be thinking about what was going on in reality. I wouldn't be thinking about everything that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, and then it also just brought back, and also I kept having so much regret for other things that I had done it in my past, that I just chose to, I was able to push in the back of my mind and just forget about, well, not forget about it completely, but to not worry so much about it. And it was just a very depressing time. And it I would I would just be in my bed crying and saying, why is God letting me go through this? Am I why is he putting me through? Why can't he help me? I literally
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was in a spiritual battle. I felt like I was in a tug of war. I was the rope, and God and Satan were pulling me trying to want to win me over. And
Mm.
I just, the only, basically, well, not the only thing, but the main thing that kept me going, that got me through it, was listening to a song. Music, it was my therapy, because that song that I listened to just resonated with what I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was a cry out to the angels to not give up on me, to not let me do this battle on my own. And so
Yeah,
it was very hard.
I think that's part of what the subject of the video is that the pressure causes depression because
Yeah.
you feel you're not good enough, you're not preaching hard enough, or you're not doing absolutely everything you could to bring people to the Lord or whatever.
Yeah, and if you do it too much, and then that's when it doesn't become, it's not good.
Mm. I think
It
another
brings down.
another aspect of it is I think part of the reason that there's this whole oppression complex that everyone keeps going on about, with the a lot of the more fundamental Christians saying that there's a whole, they're they're becoming an oppressed minority because
Yeah.
due to being Christian. I think part of that is it's not that people are actively trying to oppress those people, it's that people are pushing against being preached to. They're saying, no, shut up, I don't want to hear about your shit.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
And that's,
They,
it's that I saw this picture, someone with a big giant cross. It was a four panel comic strip. No, it wasn't. It was a two-panel comic strip. So the first panel, he's beating someone over the head with the cross, saying, "You must accept the Lord." And then in the next panel, the guy's breaking the cross over his knee, and the guy who had the cross, the first one's going, "Help! I'm being oppressed."
oh my gosh, that's so funny. Oh my gosh. Help, I'm being oppressed. Oh my gosh. Oh.
That's the thing. People aren't pushing against people believing what they believe. At least there may be some people
Yeah.
who are saying, no, nobody should ever believe religion. It's all ridiculous, and you're all idiots for believing it. There may be some people who say that.
Yeah.
Most of the people that I speak to and that I interact with and that I endorse, or whose actions on this I endorse, don't say that. What they're saying is, you believe whatever you like, just don't push it on me and shut up about it.
Exactly.
You know, don't come knocking on my door and trying to tell me how great Mr. Jesus is. You just go to your church and
Yeah,
talk to your mates who all believe the same thing, and don't come to me about it.
exactly. Yeah, I mean that's in one of the assumptions people a lot of people make about all Christians is that we were all indoctrinated at a young age. That's not true. I was never indoctrinated at a child. Yes, I did believe in God, but that I was a little kid. I oh cool. I there's a God. Cool person up in the sky who created a rainbow and saved animals on a boat. That's basically what I believed, and so
Mm-hmm.
in that it was not forced upon me to believe in the Bible and to go to church every Sunday and to and for some, like a lot of other kids, go out preaching the Bible to people when those kids don't even know what they're preaching about. They don't know what it
Mm.
actually means. And just reminds me of a video of I just watched earlier. It was Raging Atheist. He reacted to another video
Mm-hmm.
of Matt Powell, and I was like,
Good old
man,
Pat Mowell.
Matt Powell, oh my gosh, he is horrendous. I mean, he gets his kick out of hate having hatred for everyone who doesn't believe in the Bible, and he indoctrinates the young children. And it also, the video showed this young boy going up and preaching, and he was using a gay slur. He was saying that
Yeah.
people are going to hell. And I'm like, he's a kid. He should not be being taught that. I mean, come on. And it's just ridiculous. And yeah, I absolutely am in disagreement with kids being taught the Bible, well, to be indoctrinated in such a young age and to go out and preach. I just completely disagree with that.
Mm. And I think that once that happens, the young children are kind of pressured into this. They will see their school friends or friends in
Yeah.
the neighborhood or people they go and see wherever the kids these days go. Um, they'll see all their friends doing things that don't necessarily completely fall in line with the books that they've been reading, the
Yeah.
Bible and whatever study guides they get and all kinds of other
Yeah.
stuff, because there were study guides when I was at Sunday school and they weren't. Oh dear. Anyway, they'll then feel that pressure to try to push their beliefs on, even children who
Yeah,
will feel the
exactly.
same pressure to push that belief onto
Yeah.
their school friends, playground friends, whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, and you can't, and it's sad because they're just kids, and and they're doing what they've been taught, and to them they think that, oh, I look up to my parents or adults, and they're telling me what we're doing is fine, so I don't understand.
Yep.
So it's so sad. And you know it and one of the sad things is that they're not a lot of parents are not cherry picking like the good parts of the Bible to teach their kids about. They're teaching them everything, like everything the Bible says. And
Mm-hmm.
between the genocide and incest and slavery, it's just, and the kids are being taught that they're
Well,
thinking that it's okay.
here's the thing. I like certain bits of the Bible. There's some good stuff in there. There's also a whole load of shit in there
Yeah.
that really should have been
Yeah.
abandoned centuries ago.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is Christianity is part of the culture. It's part of Western society. It's part of the history and the culture, and it's a big it's a big influence. There are lots of people who say it's there are people who will just deny that Christianity has had any influence on morality and society, and no, I don't agree with that. I will say no, there is a clear and definite influence that Christianity has had in a positive way in some ways throughout history. There's also a lot of negatives you can easily point to. However,
exactly.
Why not just take the positive bits, get rid of all the bits that are not helpful and are now causing problems, and if you still need to have this religious belief, just have a positive version of it and get rid of the naff bits.
Yeah, exactly. Like a long time ago, when I was still trying to figure out what I want to believe in, I believed in God. I believed in but I only cherry picked the good parts of the Bible that I wanted to believe in, and didn't want to believe that God would send innocent people to hell just for their disbelief in Him, and or would allow gay people being stoned to
Mm-hmm.
death. So and I that around that time I would have my own personal beliefs, and I actually was on Tumblr, not well a little after some years ago after that time and or so, and I would, oh boy, I publicly I expressed how I felt. I said that, you know, I told people don't don't worry, and if you're as long as you're a good person, it doesn't matter if you believe in Him or not, you will go to heaven. And man, I got so many hateful comments from Christians like, "Oh, you're not a Christian," if Bible verses won't change your mind, and what will? And just and saying that, who are you to decide who's good and what's not? None of us are good. Have you lied? Have you cheated? Have you stole, etc., etc.?
Well, Bible verses
That's
did change my mind. They changed my mind to not believing them.
Oh, so like I said in a post that I made, my when it came to what I wanted to believe in, what to believe was true, it has been very difficult. It has not been easy throughout my from when I was a preteen to now as a young adult. It was not always easy.
Mm. I think that's something that's sort of important to promote going forward is take the good bits and get rid of the bad bits.
Yeah.
There's no reason that you can't take the good parts from anything. Like I'd say there's some good in just about anything. There's something useful you can take from just about any eventuality or ideology or idea or way of looking at things.
Oh
But
yeah,
there's no need.
exactly.
Yeah, just take the bits that are useful and get rid of all the crap bits.
Yeah, especially when it comes to religion, since religion is there's thousands of them, and they were created by people. There's no religion that is, it was true. It was created by a deity. It was created by people. So of course, so in that case, of course, you can take what you want to believe and for your son and the good parts or whatever, and believe for yourself. But I believe it becomes a problem when you how do I say it, you cherry pick and then condemn others for not believing in, let's say, the Bible, when you go ahead and cherry pick what you want to believe, but you turn around and condemn others and call them, saying that they're, living in sin, they're liars, or they don't want to believe the truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I think a more nuanced approach to it is important. It's no good just saying, either you're black and white, you're a believer or not, saved or not. I think that is
Yeah.
very divisive, and I
Yeah.
think that's why there's so much pressure on a lot of people to try to convert people to their faith, because they have this black and white view of
Yes.
you are either saved, going to heaven, and a follower of God, or you are the worst creature in existence.
Exactly. When it comes to well, I can't. Well, for personally, I can't speak for like their styles. I can't speak and say there it's black and white for every single religion out there because I
No, I
obviously
don't think
do
it
not.
is, but I think,
Yeah, in
yeah,
Christianity, it is. It's black and white.
it's definitely in the more fundamental ones.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it was never. It was just. That's why I struggled in certain areas with to certain things as an evangelical Christian because it's not black and it's not gray. It's no gray area. It's black and white. You either follow what the Bible says, you follow what God says, do what is
Mm-hmm.
holy, or you don't. So there was never a balance. There was never, well, you can do that. It's not either. It's not good nor bad, or if it's not technically not considered holy, but it's not. It wouldn't go against God. It was black and white. It was just and it made it a very big struggle for me at times.
Yeah, and I think that the black and white thinking is very unhelpful because it's entirely possible to disagree with someone and still like them, be friends with them, get on with them, interact with them.
Exactly.
You know, it is necessary to be able to disagree on one thing and still get on with people.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I have a an online friend. He they're Christian, but they don't believe in enforcing their belief or beliefs onto others. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're an atheist. You're okay. I'm a Christian. Let's just keep that you know to ourselves and just go on about and talk and be friends. That's
Mm-hmm.
what it is. And um he was basically, well, not he's the only, there's another person that they're like, but sadly a lot of the Christians that I used to talk to, that used to follow me, I used to follow them, and they would, I'm not trying to force anything onto you, but do you realize your eternity is at stake? You can't.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. It's like, do you know that your life is at stake? Do you know what's gonna happen to you? I'm not trying to force anything onto you, but do you realize what's happening? Oh my god.
Yep, I know exactly what you mean there.
Yeah. So.
Uh, well, let's talk about something a little bit more specific then. Do you have any specific examples of times when either you preaching or being preached to has had a major negative effect?
Um. I can think of many. um. Let's. Well, for example, I would preach. Oh, I this was this was preached to me, and then I turned around and preached the same thing. I was preached that taught that homosexuality is an abomination, that God did not create men to be with men or women to be with women or men to be with both women and men, and so and so it was wrong. Homosexuality is wrong. You don't do it. You don't believe in it. You should try to change that person's their lifestyle. It's considered a lifestyle, and
Mm-hmm.
they're living in sin, and they're not Christians. They're not true Christians if they are homosexual,
Mhm.
homosexual and a
Well,
Christian.
here's the thing I've got to say about that. That there is a gay lifestyle, but it's not it's not directly linked to being homosexual. It's there's a community, and that community can come with an outlook and a lifestyle. But that's the part that you might be able to adjust if you want to. There's no reason you should,
Yeah.
unless you decide to. But the actual innate feeling of who you're attracted to and who you aren't, that's not. That's that just comes with it comes with the brain.
Yeah.
At least that's my understanding and experience with it.
Yeah. And even and so I would preach the same thing that I would read in the Bible. I would watch sermons on, or I was being preached to. I would preach homosexual is sin when all the time for my whole life I was one myself, but I
Mm-hmm.
would keep denying it because of pressure, of fear of rejection
Mm-hmm.
and condemnation. And so I just pushed it. I just didn't want to deal with it. I just thought that it was Satan making me feel that way, and I just kept on going about my day, pretending to convincing myself that I only liked men. So
Mm-hmm. And that's harmful to everyone involved, because then you
it
find
is.
yourself in a loveless relationship,
Yeah.
and that's not
Yeah.
good for anyone in that relationship.
Yeah. And yeah, and I even still to this day, and I don't think I would ever come out to my my form.
Hmm. Well, here's an example
Would.
from. Oh, I think it's cut you off there. Were you saying? Are you still going?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, you're back again.
Okay, okay.
It cut you off mid
Um,
sentence.
I said that I don't think to this day or even in the future I would ever come out to my former Bible study teacher because he it would not go so well. It would not go well at all. And I
Hmm.
don't need to put myself through that knowing what I know exactly what that the response is going to be, and so it's not worth putting myself through that
Hmm.
heartache. So just not mention it.
Yeah. Well, there's an example of that from my country, specifically at the moment. I'm sure you've heard a little bit about this. There's all the um, people of a more Eastern persuasion coming in a sort of a arriving in the country for various reasons, sometimes as refugees or asylum seekers and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the people come here as legitimate people trying to immigrate and become part of the society. However, in schools, in several schools in particular, there is a push to try to promote acceptance of different points of view, particularly around homosexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just find the quote. Actually, it's on my Twitter somewhere. There it is. Here it is. Muslim parents in school protest against lessons uh, on British equality values. It's an article that I read recently, and one particular quote from it is uh, one mother wanted to leave the country rather than let her daughter attend the lessons.
Really?
So that's the side of it in this country that's the more one of the more fundamental religions suddenly
Wow.
finding that the religion is incompatible with the Western values, the Western value of acceptance of different points of view.
Wow. I should rather leave the country rather than have it. Wow. Huh.
So
I honestly, I'm
that's an example of what I
surprised.
mean. That it becomes it. There will be pressure on those children when they hear an opposing view
Yeah.
to fight against it, rather than just thinking, well, it doesn't affect me in any way. If these people are living how they live, I'll continue to live how I live.
Yeah. Exactly.
There will be pressure on those children to try to convert everyone to their way of thinking.
Yeah. And when I was a Christian, I wanted to get married and in the future and have kids and bring up them religiously, bring up in
Mm-hmm.
Christianity. But now, as an atheist, I don't even know now if I'll ever have kids. But if I do, I'm and I want I'm gonna make sure that my spouse, they have the same view on this, that to bring up the child to to learn about different views and different opinions and different religions, but to to not condemn and to not hate
Mm-hmm.
everyone else's views if you don't agree with that. You know, to be
Yep.
open minded.
I think it's important to just understand that there is a vast range of different worldviews and opinions all over the place, and that if there's going to
Yeah.
be any kind of harmony, people need to be able to understand and accept that other people will think differently to them.
Yeah. It's like and I talked to her, and there was a family member of mine that she was brought up religiously, but and she doesn't necessarily agree with gay marriage, but she doesn't condemn them either. She just keeps it to herself and doesn't you know she doesn't hate them, or and doesn't try to convince them of what they're doing is wrong. She just doesn't personally agree with it and keeps it to herself. And she was perfectly fine when I came out to her, and she didn't say, you know that it's wrong, right? It's against the Bible. She didn't say that. She just accepted it and moved on. And that's what the point is. You can disagree with something, or how who someone loves, but don't hate them for it. Don't assault them for it, or do anything to harm them because you
Mm.
disagree with how they're living their life.
Mm. Yeah, I agree with you there. And another aspect of that is that it's important to understand that people from other cultures will come from more restricted backgrounds,
Yeah.
and that it's important to be compassionate and understand that people who, particularly people from other countries who move to Western countries, will be from different cultures and
Yeah.
won't immediately be able to acclimatize themselves to a more open way of looking at things.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, I feel sorry. I don't, just it's like I can't believe, that, people from, let's say, Afghanistan, or some, Muslim country, I can't believe that they hate, you know, homosexuals, and because they were in their country, that's what is taught. It's not.
Yeah,
It's not in America. It's a lot different, even though there are people who are still against homosexuality and transgender people, but there is still a lot of people that are accepting in America, and you're more likely to be harassed and you can get killed in your country that you're
Hmm.
from than you would if you lived in America. I think now.
Yeah. Well, let me just come up with an example of a friend of mine who works in a shop. This friend of mine is gay,
Yeah.
and he works with a guy who I think is from Iran or somewhere like that, and grew up in this culture where homosexuality is bad and wrong and immoral.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my friend is. I personally, if he hadn't told me, I would never have guessed. You know, it just came up in conversation one day. It's like, oh, I went out on a date with a guy. I was like, oh yeah, oh cool. Uh, you know, I wouldn't have sort of until that point. It just never entered my mind that he would be. And then he just kind of said, I went out on a date with the guy. I was like, oh okay.
There are
So
times where you can't, you just don't know, you can't tell if someone is, but there are people that you can obviously tell.
yeah, yeah. But I wouldn't have guessed with him. But you know, he was chatting with this guy from I'm gonna say Iran. I'm not 100% sure it is Iran, but I'm gonna say for the sake of argument that it was. He was chatting with this guy, and they were just talking away, and because he's not obviously gay, it never sort of came up in conversation. The guy never assumed that he was.
Uh-huh.
So they never got that reaction of, oh, it's immoral, you get out of my face.
Yeah.
And then he got to know this guy, and they were chatting for a while, and talking about stuff, and then eventually it did kind of come up, and because he'd already kind of got to know the guy, and the guy had become kind of used to talking to him and discussing things with him, just the idea that guy, that suddenly this person he's been talking to for ages was an immoral monster, it didn't happen. He just kind of thought, oh, actually, I'm kind of changing my thinking on this. Maybe it's
Yeah.
not such a terrible thing. And I think
Yeah.
that the idea is that compassionate approach is often more helpful. That rather than someone coming out and someone saying that in their culture homosexuality is immoral, being all, oh my god, that's awful. You know,
Yeah.
rather than doing that, say, well, why is that? Having an open conversation about it rather than just shouting in their face and throwing them out the door.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also wonder how many people would be accept, if they normally didn't agree with, a person's lifestyle or whatever religion, if they would be still be friends and work and be still compassionate and maybe even accepting and willing to change their views on it if they didn't already first off the bat knew what that person's sexual orientation is, or if
Mm-hmm.
they're transgender, or if they're religious. Would they, like, what would happen? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, should be a social, that should be like an experiment that I would love
Yeah,
to see
it'd
like
be
on TV.
interesting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
another thing with the same guy was this guy, because of his cultural, national, and religious background, had a sort of a predisposed dislike of anyone who could be considered Jewish.
um,
And through this, suddenly finding out this person who he'd been talking to for ages was gay, and that wasn't actually such a disastrous thing. It was he. He's in conversation since then. He's been reconsidering a lot of his other preconceptions,
mm-hmm.
like the dislike from his cultural background of anyone Jewish.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people tend to just, as soon as they discover that someone's got a view that they disagree with, they tend to get very belligerent and very. They can't accept that this person has this view that they find disgusting. So they just throw them out on the street. Essentially, they will not talk to them anymore. Whereas
Yeah.
if you actually did talk to them a bit more and have a conversation and a discussion, you might be able to find that you might learn something from them, and they will also learn something from you.
Exactly. Yeah. And what's also it's not so, black and white, is that when it comes to like someone's race, ethnicity, people on a lot of people, there's no way you can't, you know, automatically just for someone to not judge you and to not talk to it because of your of who your race is. You'll know. Well, for the most part, at least. And so, and if our skin color, wasn't visible, I mean, I bet maybe some people that were brought up to be racist and they got to know us, they wouldn't be so, racist against people of color. But unfortunately, we get, people who have a certain skin color get judged, and right off the
Mm-hmm.
bat, without even getting to know that person.
Yeah, I think if people could get over that first hurdle of just, oh no, this is something I don't like, they might actually
Yeah.
find that they managed to get somewhere with that.
Yeah.
So
Like,
I don't want to say sneak it in there, but sneak it in there. Yeah, just kind of say, oh yeah, we've been having great conversations. We really got to know you, and we've had this great chat. Oh, by the way, I'm gay, or something like that.
oh, by the way, I'm an atheist. Hello.
Don't do
Oh.
it like that, but
Oh my gosh.
well,
That's funny.
you're just having a voice only conversation with someone who's got like a major prejudice against someone of a particular skin color or something like that. Just really get to know them, form like a connection with them, have a whole oh, by the way, I'm black, whatever. Let's just
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, yeah,
I
that would be an
hadn't
interesting
noticed.
experiment.
Yeah. Uh, do you think that it's time for us to ask some questions from people?
I think so. Yeah, we're coming up on an hour. Let's see. Any questions in the chat? Let me just put it as a text as well.
I've been
Anyone got any questions for us? At me.
oh surprisingly there hasn't been any questions before, sooner.
I think that there's
Everyone's
been a lively discussion going on.
yeah, earlier there was about alcohol or like drinks or something.
Yep.
Oh my, nothing from me.
Oh.
Oh, thanks a lot. I'm not interesting.
What is the one
It's the
question
one
you don't want to
question you don't.
answer?
Are you Are you kidding me? Are you serious? What kind of question is that? Oh my. Well, I don't know.
Nobody's asked it
I
yet.
don't. No one's asked me. Oh my gosh. Ask a different one.
Maybe you'll come up with the one that we don't want to answer.
I can't think of. I can't think of any.
Well,
Oh,
question for the chat. What's your opinion on Battenberg?
what'd you say?
Well, I'll ask you as well. What is your opinion on Battenberg?
Bass and what?
It's a type of cake mostly found in England.
Yeah, I definitely have not heard of that. Have you heard of chop suey?
I've heard of, but I don't know what it is.
Chop suey is macaroni with tomato sauce and hamburg all together.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. It's
Uh,
okay, but it has too many beetles. What the heck?
Let me just
Is that?
open. We've got a question which is, what is the square root of 76? Let me just open the calculator.
Are you kidding? What is the square root of 70? Oh my, I do not like math. Even though I'm an A student, I was an A student
How do
in
you do
math. I still
square
don't like it.
roots in this calculator?
Which ACA shows do you watch?
76.
ACA shows? ACA
Oh.
shows? What's A?
H square root of 76, if I've put it in this calculator correctly, is 8.71779887081341041044, and so on.
That's all. Someone Pine Snake or something like that. Which ACA shows do you watch?
I
ACA.
think that would be the atheist something of somewhere. And I've
Oh,
forgotten which one it is. Give me a second.
I watch the Atheist Experience and that show sometimes, but how many types of
You know how it
food
works. The
are there?
atheist thing of somewhere. Atheist community of Austin. That's it.
Oh, yeah. If
That'd be the.
someone, yeah,
I'm
the
pretty sure that's the
atheists.
ones that do the Atheist Experience and
Yeah,
the
I love
Talk
that
Heathen
show.
and those other shows.
Yeah, I love Atheist Spirit. I guess this has to be a question for you. How many types of food are there in English breakfast?
Well, when I have an English breakfast, what that consists of is 2 sausages, piece of bacon, a fried egg, fried bread, baked beans, and black pudding.
Bro, that's all in an English. Wow, I if I ever travel to England, I'm gonna be so lost.
I should mention you don't have that for breakfast every day.
I
In
would
fact,
have to bring my own food from what you've been describing. I
I
think I'll bring
normally
my
have it
own
for
food.
lunch if I do have it because breakfast time. I'm not ready for something that much.
Oh, I've got a question for you.
Oh, yeah, go on.
Oh my god. Okay. I've been wanting to ask an English person this question.
Mhm.
What's your opinion on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's in marriage?
On the marriage, well, what goes on in their private time is their business. But on
Like,
the
what do you think of the relationship like between themselves? Like, do you think that they're a good match for each other, etc.?
um, they seem to be. In terms of the whole, English traditions and all that, traditionally he should really marry some noble aristocrat from some inbred European royal family,
Yeah.
but
I for one, I don't know if any of you guys are for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, but I am not. I do not. I just don't buy into their relationship. I'm sorry.
there was some talk that she
um,
was a robot.
uh,
There was like some video of her at a sports game, and her head was moving, but her face wasn't. I don't know if that's actually a real video or if somebody made it. Oh, are you still there, or has it cut you off again? I think it's cut you off again. Yep, here we
hello.
go. There we go. You're back again.
No, I noticed that I've had to whenever we got caught off, I had to unplug and plug back in my headphones.
Yeah, that might be what it is. It might be a loose connection, or it's just doesn't like the headphones.
Other than atheism, what's the most fun thing?
The most fun thing. I would
For
say
me, it's many things.
I'd say complaining about what Disney is doing with Star Wars.
Oh my that are you serious? What Disney is doing with Star Wars, that is the most oh my word.
Well, it started with
it's
atheism being the most fun thing, so I thought, well, whatever.
Well, I can tell you right now that is not my favorite thing besides atheism. Oh my word.
What do I enjoy the most? I quite like role play. I like nature. I like doing stuff out in nature. I do
Oh, I like nature
do environmentally type things. I go and do conservation volunteering and stuff like that. What about what sort of stuff do you do?
Well,
What do you
obviously,
enjoy?
I love to sing. I love reading. I love nature also, and I go goo goo gaga over any dog I see in public. I'm not kidding you. Oh my gosh, I was walking to a store and someone else was in the store and he had a German Shepherd puppy. Oh my gosh, I tracked him. I was following him to try to catch up with him around the store to see if I can just, pet the dog, and I lost him. I'm that type of person. If you're walking by me and you have such a cute dog or animal, I will either pretend to bump into you just an excuse to talk to you, or I will just come right up and say, "Can I pet it? It's so cute."
Well, badgers are kind of like dogs.
But they're mean.
I would say that if you meet a badger sort of out and about, do not go over and attempt to pet.
I know that's what my family keeps telling me. If you see a bear, do not go and hug it. But a bear hug, it's so cuddly.
With the badgers, if you see the European badger out and about, you probably won't because we're mostly nocturnal. But if you do not approach. Partly because badgers are very strong and very solidly built, and also because you may be arrested because interfering with badgers in any way is illegal in this country.
Really?
Unless you are representing the government doing the badger cull, which is a whole other matter entirely. And if you meet the American badger, they will bite your face off.
Well, one, it's illegal to touch them, and two, if you can, they bite their face off. Okay, note to self. Not
and if you go to Africa and you meet the honey badger, they don't give a fuck. They Oh, an interesting thing with the honey badger has very loose skin. So if you grab it almost anywhere on its body and try to hold it, it can still bite you.
That's terrifying. Oh, that's terrifying. I've actually
You go on.
No, you go. Yeah, you go on.
There's a question. It's
quite interesting learning about badgers.
Question here. It says, to me, how have you avoided the badger cull? By being smarter than the people doing the badger cull. That's how. Also, I have what is known as a lock on my badger burrow, so they can't come in. And I think we've lost you again.
Oh my god!
No, there you are. You're back. No, you're fine. Never mind.
Jeez, I'm gonna.
Yeah, but that's how I avoid the badger cull. I am smarter than the people doing the badger cull.
Does anyone have any questions for me? And do not ask me what questions would I not answer.
Am I smarter than the average badger? I haven't heard that many badgers in-depth discussions on the internet about various subjects. Apart from there is another badger on Twitter called Mr. Badger, or at Badger Mister, who is a rather interesting character. He writes in-depth blogs on various subjects and tweets things that don't make sense. I discovered this when someone on my list of friends retweeted something from this other badger, and I saw it, and I immediately sort of appeared in the comments of that saying, "You've been seeing another badger."
This question by Robert, is this for me? Can you sing for us? Is that for me or for you?
I'd like that. I think it's probably for you.
But see, I really want to, but do you think, I don't know if how my singing voice will come out right when I, by singing now through the phone.
Well, microphones tend to make things a little bit.
So God, if I do sing, if it sounds bad, then you're just gonna have to listen to my other covers, because, like I said, it's not gonna come out. Mm-hmm. I know it's not gonna come out.
Nadine's got a question for you. What is your favorite Ninja Turtle?
This question was basically asked when I was being interviewed by Neil.
Yeah, I thought it might.
I don't pay attention to who's who, like with their name specifically. I know there's Michelangelo and the other ones. But I
picked the guy with the katanas because he's got katanas.
I like the newer. Oh, I think I have the movie. I like.
And you've gone again. Like the movie. I like.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're back.
I like. Hold on, just give me a second because I'm getting the movie. I like the one. I have a little crush on him. Don't judge me. The red one. What's his name?
The red one.
Yeah, not the skin. The
Red Ninja Turtle.
And I also like the blue one too.
Red one is Raphael, apparently.
Raphael. Yeah, I like the blue and the red ones.
The blue and the red ones. Okay. Yep. Question from Pine Snake for both of us. We'll start with you. Which is your favorite character from The Wind in the Willows?
Is that for me? I have never heard of that show or movie.
It's an old story that's been made into films and books and series.
If you had asked me if I liked Gigi or Barbie Girls, I would have been awesome. I mean, like the love story and Gigi's just amazing.
All right. Well, I'll answer that question in
Sassy should sing.
I'll answer that question about The Wind in the Willows in the most unoriginal way possible and say, Mr. Badger.
Oh my god!
It's a story about a group of animals who live near a river, and Mr. Badger lives in the woods and is very grumpy. So when Ratty and Moley go to see Mr. Badger because they're lost in the woods and they find his door, they knock on his door and he comes on, "Oh, I sort of time you call this."
Oh my gosh. It sounds so funny. Robert X Sassy should sing, and then pure ostension or something like that. Just hashtag, just do it. If I get one more reply asking me to sing, I will. Okay, I will. If there's one more reply, I will sing. But if not, then I won't sing.
Any other questions, anybody? Oh, the moles arrived.
Wanna stream later?
Possibly, Mr. Mole. I'm not sure exactly when I'll be
Oh
around
my
later
gosh.
this evening. I've got some stuff happening.
Sing.
I think they want you to sing, you know.
Okay.
La 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 la, says Robert X.
It's okay. I'm gonna try to pick a song. Okay. I don't know how this is gonna come out, but whatever. Head underwater, and you tell me to breathe easy for a while. But breathing gets harder, even I know that. Make room for me, it's too soon to see that I'm happy in your hands. Unusually hard to hold on to. Blank stares and blank pages. No easy way to say this. You mean well, but you made this hard on me. I'm not gonna write you a love song. Could you ask for it? Could you need one? You see, I'm not gonna write you a love song. Could you tell me it's making breaking this? Go on your way. I'm not gonna rag you. Just stay. All I ever need, I need a better reason to write you a love song today. That's it. That's all I'm doing.
Woo! For good music, I have my one of my favorite musical instruments here. Are you ready?
Yeah. Oh, bravo.
Oh, words. Does anyone else have any other questions this evening? You just put that in.
Well, it's not a question, but Robert X says, I would listen to a video with her singing. You can. I have a YouTube channel.
Well, spelling doesn't happen. Any more question?
Star Wars just died for me.
Oh,
Star Wars just died.
Well, it kind of died for me a bit when Disney took over. So.
May the force be with you. May the force be with you. And thank you for all the comments, everyone.
Link channel Plox.
Huh?
Put your YouTube channel in the chat.
Oh, that's what. Okay.
Yeah, let me find it. Sassy.
No, do you know what my music channel is called? It's not Sassy Atheist.
I'm hoping that you, in one of the many posts on your Twitter, you've linked it.
Yeah, sorry. You can go on my Sassy Atheist channel. I have the link on it on my other channel on the. Yeah, that's right.
And I can't find anything at the moment.
It should. Hold on.
I'll tell you what, just send me the thing and I'll put it in the other thing.
Let's see. Hold. Oh, I don't want that. My channel. Let's see. Not that. Oh my gosh! Stop it. Okay. I'm gonna try it.
Well. One more question from Pine Snake while you're doing that, which is for you. Other than the Badger, who is your favorite atheist YouTuber?
That would have to be the Raging Atheist. He's awesome.
I like a bit of the old rager, do you?
Well, but it isn't. That's the thing. Like in my opinion, he doesn't like like rage, like get angry, and but it's
Mhm.
just he goes on rants like basically
Yep.
about, he reacts to religious videos and stuff, and he makes he says is what he thinks about it. And a lot of times it's quite hilarious, but I mean, you have to at the same time you agree on him with like basically everything he says, because it's just I'm almost I'll
I'll
be
say
getting
mine while you're doing that. One of my personal favorites would be Bionic Dance.
what is it?
Atheist YouTubers. One of my favorites would be Bionic Dance.
Oh, now my phone ah,
You're having trouble
there's
there.
no time. My phone keeps freezing, and I can't stand that when I need to look up
You try and
something,
do something
it
and
just
it's not doing it
freezes
yet.
on me. It's like, come on. I just want to just get the link, because please work, stupid phone. Oh, for heaven's sake. For Pete's sake. Okay, that's not working.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, I will entertain the people by saying something.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Well, how are you this evening?
Sorry, everyone. It's not working for me. I'm trying to get the link, and my phone keeps freezing. Now I
Well,
have
the
to
mole
go on
said he
my.
likes GC and GE. Now, which one's GC? Anyone remember? I'm pretty sure it's godless, but which one's GC again?
Oh crap! I don't know. Don't you act up on me now. Okay.
Oh, godless cranium. Of course it is.
Copy link. No, I don't want to copy link to a tweet. uh, Open. Oh, there it is.
Well, here's the thing.
Is it okay if I link? If I can't get to my it's hold on. I'm not making
I'm not
sense
sure if
here.
it'll let you put links in the chat because I'm not sure how to give people wrenches exactly. So if you put it in the
It
Twitter chat, then I'll put it in the chat.
it can I've done a link before in the chat. It does work. I just it just has to work for me. If it's work. No.
Pure Austin that one says Badger singing. So what could I sing? Oh, I probably shouldn't sing that one. That's a bit morbid.
Oh no, I had it. No. There you go. Oh, got it. It's like trying to play whack-a-mole or something. Trying to get it.
I'll sing something. Here we go. Oh, the Badger song. You want me to sing the Badger song?
Okay.
Well, in that case.
Paste. Okay, I
Badger, 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 mushroom.
Oh my gosh. Oh my, that's it. That's as funny as the bird. The bird is a word. I put the link to my channel. Can someone click on it to see if it work? It should work.
Where did you put it?
I put it. It's the link. It's under deconverted man. Whatever his response.
I don't think it's come up properly. Send it to me in the Twitter chat, and I'll put it in just in case.
Yeah, and that's how I have to do it because every time I try to do it any other way, it never works out. I fail at social media sometimes.
Twitter would like to open the chat. That would be great.
And you said through Twitter,
Yeah, to put it in the Twitter chat, and I'll put it in the thing.
Stop it. Almost. Okay. Did you get? Okay.
Yeah,
I sent it to you. Okay. Good. Ay. Jeez.
Check that I've got a link that works. Yeah, there we go. All right. Link is now in the chat. And I will put it in the description as well.
Okay.
Right, shall we wrap it up there for now, do you reckon?
Yeah, it for about like 5 or 10 minutes it's been a little bit boring because I was distracted and trying to get the stupid link to work. You know, I thought you guys would have been asking a lot more questions. I'm so disappointed in you. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Right, well, let's wrap it up for there.
Yes, that YouTube is Music Is My Soul. Yes, it's pink and it has the headphones and it shows and it spells out Music Is My music on top of the headphones. Sorry, you want questions, eh? You want questions? Yes, I do.
Yeah, we got a few minutes for a few more questions.
I wasn't prepared. Thank you for subscribing. Yeah, I post I try to post every a new song every Sunday. So.
Oh, excellent.
We will just bombard your channel instead. Oh, LOL. Oh my gosh. I see you sing covers, so do you take requests? Because I have so many songs to request. Oh, brother. Oh my god.
You may have let yourself in for it now.
Yes, you can give me a song request, but I'm just putting out there that I cannot sing every song, out there. So I may or may not be able to sing either all your songs or some of your songs. Catapult. Is that a song?
Catapult Pancakes.
I am not singing whatever song that is. I'm serious.
Let me just see if I can figure out what this is.
Oh my gosh.
Catapult Pancakes.
Be serious. How about Barbie Girl or something? No, I'm kidding.
I have no idea if that is a song or not.
Oh, sorry. I'll just put them on that channel. Okay. Oh my gosh. Yes, Catapult and Pancake is a song. I want to hear Hocus Pocus. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I have a song request actually. Do you do songs to do with the video games?
Okay, so far, you guys, you either given me song requests I've never heard of or song that I do not like.
Would you be interested in doing a game-related song?
A game-related song? Maybe, depending on what the song is. and if I can get it off of YouTube, because all my songs that I do covers of, I've bought it off YouTube and I don't like download it off of YouTube legally or anything. So if I like the song and if I'm able to buy it off of YouTube, then sure, why not? I want to hear Hocus Pocus sung by Barbie. Oh my! You guys are just. Are you? You guys are not being serious. Why don't you make song requests like by Selena Gomez or Demi Lovato or
What about the Batman?
Everlife or? Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
I'm putting out there. I do not like Batman. I'm not that into Superman. So
no, the Adam West Batman thing, yeah. You
guys are all crazy. You guys are all crazy.
Anyway, should we wrap it up for the evening? I think that'll well, it's evening for me anyway.
Yeah.
Before you get any more song requests.
I'm sure. No, they're gonna go to my channel and they're gonna put it in all the comments. I'm gonna get them.
Yep.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, as sung by one of those new art.
New ones.
No, new artists. Okay. Oh wait, I know. Oh my god. Watch it be someone that I do not know.
What's it gonna be?
Sing. Oh, now you're talking. Sing "Fire to the Rain." Now you're talking. By Adele. That's fucking turkey.
What's it like not to be a badger? That's the question.
Here's your question.
Well, I couldn't tell you, so I'll have to pass that one over to you.
Me? Well, not to brag, but I'm not a badger, but I am a fox. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh, I have a really funny sense of humor and a weird one too.
Right. Well, I think that'll do for today. So thank you very much for coming and joining us in this chat, everyone. We were serious. We were serious at the start.
What does the fox say? I love that song.
Well, depending on which chorus it is.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I saw a video where someone had recorded an actual fox call, and they had the "What does the fox say?" and then it just cut to the actual fox. But then instead of the song, it just cut to an actual fox just going.
Oh my gosh. If anyone wants to ask me questions about my deconversion or related to my journey, you can DM me on my Sassy Atheist Twitter account. But if you have a random question, you can ask me on my other Twitter account, which is there's a link on my Sassy Atheist account. And if you have any questions, or requests, or comments, you can leave it on my YouTube channel. Oh, gee.
Same with me. If you want to contact me for a text-based chat, I'm on the Twitters. You can send me a message or tweet at me at Bad Temper Badger. And if you want to appear on the channel for a discussion like this one, message me on Twitter or send me a message through the YouTube, or you can badger me at my email address, which is I think you'll enjoy my official email address for getting messages for YouTube stuff. It's badger@cock.li.
Wait, I have a serious question. GIF or GIF? Okay. How is that a serious question?
Well, I used to say GIF, and then I said GIF for a while, but I alternate now because I can't remember what I would actually say. I can't remember how I say it anymore. All right, well, that'll do it for us for the evening. Thanks for coming, everyone. Good night.
Bye.